We'd like to call the regular meeting to order. If you're able, stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent prayer. If you'll remain standing for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you. At this time, if there are public comments, we have 3 minutes per person, and you can also speak on each agenda item as well, if you wanted to do that. If you would address your, if you would address your comments to the chair and give your name, it would be appreciated, and if you're a township resident or not. Are there any public comments? I know several people thought there was something on LPR, and there's not, I'm not sure where that came from or how that happened, but we'll take public comments at this time.
Hi, my name is Beth Gibbons, and I am a township resident. I live at 183 North Mansfield Street. While there's not something on the agenda regarding LPR, my public comment is regarding that, and it's also regarding the recent millage flyer that the township distributed. Regarding the LPR, I just want to express my deep concern about this program. For one, I see this as a privatization of personal information. I live at 183 Mansfield Street, so this is really at the intersection of where the city of Ypsi and the township begin. I am not at all comfortable with the idea of having surveillance and cameras sitting on both ends of the street where I live, where my children play. I don't believe that this data will actually remain public. I think that it's going to a private company, and I don't believe in the security of this once it leaves the township hands. And I don't think it's a priority for where the township should be spending money on things like safety. I'm also concerned about the misinformation that I saw distributed through the recent flyer that went out to myself and other township residents regarding the AATA millage. While I understand the information in it was perhaps not false and the flyer itself wasn't in violation of any type of Board of Election protocol, I really found that it was misleading. I understand that there's a sentiment among some trustees that they didn't have all the information they needed from AATA. I assure you that there is ample information about how this expansion of service will provide benefit to township residents through more service, through the expansion of night ride and on-call services, and generally through the maintenance of para-services, which are critical for many of our vulnerable populations throughout the region. As somebody who's lived most of my life in Ypsilanti City, but now live in Ypsilanti Township, I really would love to see a spirit of cooperation and collaboration between our jurisdictions. And in these two cases, I really don't see that being brought forward by the trustees, and so I hope that there will be an effort to do better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Good evening. My name is Saul Vilmetti. I live in Ypsilanti Township at 2981 West Clark Road. And I'm also here to express my opposition to the proposed license plate readers. Under the most current map that I can find, there is no way out of my apartment complex without passing by a license plate reader. So I would like you to consider whether you would be satisfied with a license plate reader at the end of your own driveway. That is, in effect, what you have asked me to have, and that is unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there other comments?
Hello, everyone. My name is Shalina Rankin. My address of record is 7823 Lake Crest Court, Ypsilanti, Michigan, 48197. Born and raised in this community, graduated from Lincoln High School. And I'm here today to put on record my concern of the proposal for the license plate readers. So I have multiple concerns, but I can't remember how many minutes I have, so I'll try to keep it brief. One of the things I'm most concerned about is creating a surveillance state and the township. Also, it was my understanding that the Washtenaw Sheriff County was going to grab public opinion before he moved forward with it. And I am not aware, maybe I missed it, but I haven't seen any findings back. So one, I wanted to know exactly who did you survey, how many of the township residents, and what was the feedback that you received. So I kind of think even voting on this issue is a little bit premature, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm not convinced that this is what this township actually wants. And then in addition, according to like research that I've seen, the flock safety, the company that we would be using, they solicited us. This isn't something that we decided as a community that we wanted. A profiteering company who targets municipalities who have increased police budgets came to us and sold us on this. I don't think that's the way we should make decisions. I'm going to leave it at that. But I'm definitely against this. I think a lot more research needs to be done. I think you need to make a case to the community that this is something that we want and that we have initiated. The other thing is, I think this is a huge quagmire as far as public data. This company claims that they won't share the data and that it's going to be secure and it's going to be safe. I think other municipalities who have hired them have found that not to be true, and I think that they might even profit off this data. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm against it, and I think maybe we shouldn't even be voting on that tonight.
And just so people know, we're not voting on it tonight. The Sheriff's Department is going to come to a work session, we think the next one, and they did the survey, and they have all that data and stuff.
Yeah, and we definitely need the findings.
Yeah, and we'll do a work session on it, and so people know and can hear the presentation and the information from the Sheriff Department on the survey.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We won't be voting tonight.
Well, that's good news to hear.
Okay. Thank you.
I just have a question. They're talking about these license plate readers. I don't know how many years back and how many of the actual communities or neighborhood watch groups in the township actually asked to have cameras going into and out of the subdivisions. But I know, to me, that's no different than the license plate reader. And if I remember correctly, the cameras were pointed like at the end of the street where the cars came out. But I know there were quite a few neighborhoods that had requested them, and that in case there was a break-in or whatever, that, and only the police viewed that information at the time of the incidents. It was nothing that was monitored 24 hours a day, and it was only the police, and I've forgotten how long it was that information was stored.
I don't have that number, but I can bring it to the next meeting, yeah.
You remembered what I'm talking about. Nancy Park was one, there were several other,
West Willow, Sugar Boat,
yes, that actually
Holmes Road, yeah, there's several neighborhood that has
got the
neighborhood
cameras.
cameras. Yeah.
Yes, but actually took more of a picture than these license plate readers.
I'll get that information for the next meeting.
Right, and only the police was able to look at it, and it was only stored for X period of time, and I don't remember, it's been a while.
Thank you.
Hi, Regina Cudla. I live at 120 Valley Drive, and I attended the meeting last month specifically because I had concerns about the license plate readers. But since I've learned and thought about it a lot since then, I think I support the use of the license plate readers in the community. I'm really puzzled about people's concerns about privacy. I think that we pretty well gave up our privacy when the Patriot Act was signed and after September 11th, and we signed over a lot of our security and that to Homeland Security. And as far as the license plate readers, well, you're photographed every time you walk into Target, aren't you? And you're photographed at every red light, aren't you? And the event of the shooting in Illinois, when the suspect traveled to another community. That could have been our community having a shooter drive into Ypsilanti Township, and the license plate readers could have identified the presence and the location of that vehicle pretty quickly for our law enforcement to apprehend that suspect. So I think that for the most part, I think that they're pretty benign, and I would accept those now. Thank you.
for your comment. Are there other comments?
Hi, my name's Alex Lowe. I'm a resident of Ann Arbor, but I'm a software developer, and I come through Ypsilanti Township quite often. I come and spend my money here, which, if these license plate readers go online, I will no longer be doing. I want to address some of
No, if
the
you could
points
address the board,
that were brought up, because it's important to note that this data will be available under Freedom of Information Act requests, which means that if someone wanted to get your license plate and then publish your every time you enter or exit the township, they would be able to do that. This is a problem for anyone who's worried about being stalked, for example, or maybe if they're a public figure who's worried about people wanting to do all sorts of things. It's really quite problematic. And in fact, Michigan has banned speeding cameras and red light cameras for these very same privacy concerns. So I think that whether these cameras are even allowed here is legally dubious and would be opening the township to lawsuits.
Thank you for your comment. Are there other comments?
Hi, my name is Jessica Donnelly. I live at 757 Mildred Street in Ypsilanti City. I'm here tonight because I am really concerned about the license plate readers, as many others. I understand that we live in a certain surveillance state level already, but I don't think that there's any reason to expand on that. I live right on the e-course border, and looking at the map of the proposed cameras, there are 6 cameras within like a 4-block radius on e-course. I think it's overkill. I think it's not going to be effective, and I think it opens up the door to broad abuse of information. And I also, as a city resident, am kind of upset that this board is going to have the vote without any Ypsi city residents or elected officials having a say in the matter, because this will, at the end of the day, affect us in the city as well. And I don't think that it's okay for the township to implement a system that will impact the residents that aren't being represented by this board so broadly. So I'm in stark opposition of it, and I hope that you take the concerns that are being laid out seriously. Thank you.
Other comments?
Hello, I'm Deanna Suleray. I'm a township resident, 871 LeMay Avenue. And I just also want to disagree, or voice my disagreement on the surveillance plan that you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
Hi, I'm Jean Butchart. I actually live just across the border in Van Buren Township. I regularly come to Ypsilanti. I tend to avoid neighborhoods where there's excessive surveillance because it makes me uncomfortable, and so I avoid going and spending money in those places. I've also had a job where I had to take down people's tabs and license plates when I worked for the state at a state campground. And this automatic ticketing prompt will be both a poverty tax and a forgetfulness tax. The number of people who have up-to-date tabs in their glove box and don't have them on the back of their car is immense. And the number of people who have minor cosmetic problems with their car or who have driven through mud that might make them disfavored by the license plate cameras is also immense. So I will be more likely to avoid areas where I have to pass by these cameras, less likely to spend money in Ypsilanti or spend enough money that I would have to bring my car rather than a bike. And this system is going to be ineffective as well as morally wrong.
Thank you.
My name is Elliot Snow. I just moved into a lovely studio apartment over on 48 North Huron. I've lived in Ypsi on and off throughout most of my adult life. So to be clear, you said this survey that was done was commissioned by the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office? Okay, so they conducted a survey which coincidentally showed that everyone was in favor of them having more toys to play with, that it give them more power over the community and more power to, surveil people. That's a striking coincidence. And yeah, I don't trust that data, and I don't trust a lot of the data. I don't trust the things that they say this won't be used for, because we know from history, just like anywhere, when police have power, they abuse it. And this is no different. You can look at that in any city in the country. And I am staunchly against giving cops more power to surveil and track citizens of the county who really could use more support towards their community rather than the police using them to generate revenue through tickets and fines.
I just want to make it clear that you can't write tickets from these. Some states do. The state of Michigan. Pardon?
I addressed that. I don't.
Well, I just want to make that clear because some people have asked that question before, and we just want to make sure.
I understand the machine near the emails the cops to write the ticket.
Is there a next? Someone like to go to the microphone and make a comment? Any other comments?
Good evening. I'm Kaylin Sturzik. I am a township resident, 6026 Deer Creek. And I echo the concerns of many of the people here about the potential misuse of the system. What is said will be used, may or may not ultimately be how it is used. Secondarily, I'm concerned about the cost for the initial installation and the ongoing maintenance and use of it. We're not going to get the system for free. And third, I'm concerned about the precedent of having additional intrusion into the privacy of law-abiding citizens. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment?
Actually, to start with, it's a question. Has there been a presentation made to the township-wide residents in regards to this, other than I saw one little kind of sales brochure that came through, but has there been any other presentation?
No, the LPR discussion will be at the next work session.
So then let me ask, what in timeline, what do you anticipate the progression might be? Next, at the next working session,
We'll
there's
get a
going to be
presentation from the Sheriff's Department because they wanted to do community engagement, and they did surveys, email, written, and actual Zoom meetings with people, and I don't know how else they did. I don't have that data yet. But they're going to do a presentation on that, because technology has to be used by and approved by them in order to move forward with anything. So we haven't gotten there. They were in the fact finding on what the residents responded to on the survey. So that'll be presented, and then the board will hear it, and then we've heard residents before.
right. Okay, so then it's going to be like another month before the presentation is made.
Yeah.
Is it anticipated that there's going to be any more canvassing or discussion with the residents more broadly about this?
We didn't do it on the cameras in the neighborhood, but it would depend on what happens at the meeting, what the sheriff says about it, because I don't know how many they've reached out to We just don't have the information. We could do that. We're not going to make a decision. We're going to get a presentation on it.
And then the decision would be what, a month or 2 months beyond that?
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Okay, because my question goes to comments that I've heard that they did canvassing and whatnot, but it sounded like they were doing it with like block clubs and those types of groups, okay? So that tends to go to a subset of the population. You know what I mean? I'm not really active in my block club. I may never have been contacted about that or been aware that it was going on until all of a sudden now it blows up. And I don't want to see it blow up any more than you do. I'd rather have full information to as many residents as possible and ask everybody's opinion on it. I don't have an opinion on it, plus or minus right now. Mm-hmm. There's people here who obviously do. Mm-hmm. But I do know that being a resident, I have not, to my knowledge, been canvassed or asked, or there's nothing come across that I know of that has informed me of that.
Yeah.
Okay? And kind of in that same vein, the other subject is the AATA, the tripling or quadrupling of our tax in order to pay for buses. Being a person who's south of Textile, I see little or no additional bus service coming for seniors or students that are going to the school district south of us. To me, I would think that if you want me to triple my taxes, I'm not opposed to paying taxes. I wish people with more money would pay more, but you know, it sounds like if you look into this, the vast majority of the benefit is going to a rebuild of the Ypsi City building in Ann Arbor, and maybe north and west, which is good, but there's a lot of township out there that doesn't sound like it's getting any additional service for the additional taxes that are being asked of us.
Yeah.
Okay?
A lot of the engagement has been during COVID too, so
Okay.
on the AATA, and it was a master plan that they did. And this board was very concerned about moving it forward without having more information like we did when we started AATA in 2013. It took about a year, and we went around literally to each community's neighborhoods and had several meetings with residents about what services were going to be provided to our residents before they voted. So, and we did not have that this time. It's just, it wasn't handled the same way as in the beginning. We
Yeah, but it
asked to
sounds
wait
like,
till-
once the board, the AATA board kind of got control of the whole thing, you know, you're like the red-headed stepchild. You know? I don't see information coming out. I don't see, you know, fairness in all this. I just don't see that. You know what I mean? To me, I can drive my car every day probably for the next 10 or 15 years. That doesn't mean that other people can. I lived in the city of Detroit and went to Cass Tech all through high school. Went and saw a girlfriend on the southwest side. If I didn't have bus service when I was doing that, I'd have been an in trouble young man. I mean, let's be fair. You know, I'm going to see my girlfriend. I got to get home. It's midnight. Right. I got to get from southwest Detroit to northwest Detroit, and the only way is bus service. And there was many days that I was the only kid on that bus. But at least they provided the service. And I think that it's important to have that service for seniors and for young people going to that school south of me on Hitchingham. Even though I have to say I think it's become quieter because I think they stopped running the buses down Hitchingham. And I used to live on it when it was gravel road, but still, people that need that service should be able to have it. And I think there should be some additional means or method that this township board can motivate those people to either share services or stop letting us pay a disproportionate price for our services when we're not getting anything south of Textile. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Other comment?
Clarifying question based on the previous gentleman's comment.
And your name?
Jean Butchart, Van Buren Township. When you are canvassing neighborhood opinions, do you treat apartment blocks as neighborhoods, or do you leave them out?
Yeah, for the AATA in 2013 we did.
Yes, but for when you're, say, contacting the community to get opinions about cameras at the entrances to subdivisions or cameras at the entrances to the township, do you treat apartment blocks as neighborhoods? And if so, do you speak to the landlord, or do you push the information to the tenants?
The sheriff did the survey, and the sheriff department, did a lot of different neighborhood groups, and apartment complexes they do have neighborhood groups as well. So that information will be provided at the next meeting, and we can ask.
I've lived in 10 apartments over the last 3 years. One of them had a neighborhood group.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Shalina Rankin again. I have an additional comment. I think that the Washtenaw County Sheriff Department conducting the surveys has built-in bias in it. And I would caution us, I think the best case scenario is to have maybe your team or have another team do the survey. I also say I listened to the Zoom call, I think it was in April, and I was slightly disappointed by one of the sheriff's Freudian slips when he said, when we do this. Because to me, he communicated that he has decided that this is what we're going to do. But he said in his communication to us on that Zoom call that he was only going to move forward with it if the community agreed with it. So from my perspective, unless these surveys, which should not have bias in them, there should be a plan laid out on that website that shows who he's surveying, when, how many people, and also real-time feedback. Unless it's overwhelming support, then this project should end there. And I think that should be your expectation too, that unless they can show that there's overwhelming support for this and how they garnered the survey information, that we don't even need to bring this to a vote. I would say that's my expectation as a township person.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment?
I'm Michelle Hughes, and I don't think it's controversial to say that there's racial biases in the Justice Department. The people who are going to be disproportionately affected by this are black people, and it's going to be disproportionately dangerous to bring those people into the law enforcement system. And I think that on that basis alone, this project should be canceled. Thanks.
What community do you live in? I'm sorry.
Ann Arbor.
Thank you. All right. If there are not any more comments, we'll go on with the consent agenda. We have the minutes of the June 21st, 2022 work session and regular meeting, statements and checks, and the treasurer's report for 2022.
So moved. Support.
Motion, Giro Rowe, support Eldridge. Comments about the consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. General legal update was given at the work session. Is there any additional general legal update, Mr. Winnie?
Madam Chair, I think during the work session, I went through a very detailed report, and I'm sad to report that I don't think the back row could hear me too well during that report. So I'll endeavor to speak louder at the next board meeting, but I don't think they want to hear the report again. So nothing further.
I do think there's more people that weren't at the work session, and August 5th is the hearing for Galt Village at 1:30, is that?
Yes, I think for the last number of years, the township has been in litigation with a number of different owners of the Galt Village shopping center. That shopping center has now been totally deemed a dangerous building that is not to be occupied. All of the tenants that were in that building have had to vacate because of the absolute total neglect of the owner of the shopping center, and it's reached a point where it's becoming a dangerous environment for the people that live in that Galt Village neighborhood. It's become a source, it's become a dumping ground for people to leave items at the back of the now vacant shopping center. And it's not going to end well when you have that large of a shopping center that's been boarded up. It's deteriorating. It's actually becoming a demolition by neglect. And so we have asked the court to actually order the owner of the property to proceed with demolition, because it's pretty clear that it cannot, at this point in time, be salvaged. Anyone driving past that shopping center, I think, would probably agree wholeheartedly. So on August the 5th at 1:30, my law partner, Dennis O'McLean, will be requesting the court to order the owner to demolish the shopping center, the vacant shopping center, or in the alternative, to allow the township to demolish it and place a judgment lien on that property. It's a very, very important gateway into the township. It's very visible from the expressway, and to allow the property to deteriorate to the point where it has to be demolished is absolutely abhorrent. It's owned by someone who lives out of state, and aside from having the benefit of using that property for a tax loss, it's of no benefit to anyone in the Galt Village community, and certainly not a benefit to this township. So we've done all that we can do to try and bring this property into compliance. It's not going to happen. We also had named the bank as a defendant in this case, and we were told today by the bank that they are discharging their lien, which means that they've washed their hands out of any legal interest in this property. And so now the township will have to seek the blessing of the court to order this demolition, which we intend to vigorously seek on August the 5th. There will be an open hearing before Judge Conkey at 1:30. I told the board that there will be an in-person hearing, but those who cannot attend will be allowed to listen via Zoom. And again, I think that if we're going to get redevelopment of critical commercial properties that could serve as local neighborhood businesses, that we need to move forward with this. That neighborhood supported the Galt Village Shopping Center for many, many years. There was a hardware store, Farmer Jack's, A&P, numerous other dry cleaners, restaurants. So the need is there, and it would be filled if someone would do the right thing, but that's not going to happen, has not happened, and so we'll be seeking a court order, demolition order, come August 5th.
Thank you, Doug. I do appreciate that, because I know the residents have suffered long enough too. And
Yes, they have, and at the same time, I know the fire and the police, we're concerned about people using that building for improper purposes. The people have broken into that building, and I know many, many times of situations where the first responders going into a vacant building can encounter any number of hazardous situations, whether it's a trip and fall, whether it's someone that's hiding, et cetera. And so at this point in time, we've done all we can do to seek compliance and for the safety of everybody, especially the ones who have to respond. It's time for that shopping center to be demolished. There's nothing else to say.
thank you. Under new business, we have the request to create and approve the public relations manager position and renaming the web content and design position to public relations specialist position.
So moved, Peterson.
Support.
Motion Peterson, support Gerald Rowe. We did discuss this at a previous work session and also at the work session this evening. This will help get information out to residents on our website and for the employees to have the same information, because there's several communities that are creating these departments in order to get all the information out to residents in a timely manner. Probably a good example is we found out about the road commission, and they're going to do street sweeping. So they do it 2 or 3 times a year. They do it twice. We requested a third one, but they never let us know in time in order for us to get a message out. And we want to make sure the recreation department, all the departments are uniformly getting information to residents. And this day and age, through COVID, we learned that information is everything, and even tonight we heard some things about other information. How can we get it out? Sometimes it has to be mailed too, because not everyone has access to the computer. We do our recreation brochure through it. We've been talking about it we were trying to decide. I know Jimmy and Stan and Heather were here before, so it had to be at least 5 years. We've been talking about doing this. So hopefully this will make it easier and better for communication of information from the township to our residents and from our residents to the township. So that's what this agenda item is for. Are there any questions or comments on it?
So if approved tonight, when would it go up? Because the position will be posted.
Yeah.
So what would be the time frame for the posting? Or general? I know you can't be necessarily specific about
We could do the posting. We would need to bring back the budget amendment for actual wages and things like that. And that'll be brought back to the August meeting. I will not be here, but Giovanna will bring it back. But I would anticipate us being able to get the posting out within the next week to 2 weeks.
And it's out for 30 days or so?
Yes, it will be out, yeah.
Any other questions or comments? We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Can you help run that meeting? I got to go get that. He gave me a...
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, next on the agenda is a request to authorize circuit court litigation to abate public nuisances located at 5970 Bridge Road and 8 June Street, budgeted in line item 101-729-801-023.
Support Peterson.
Motion Eldridge, support Peterson. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we have budget amendment number 10. Please hold with me just a second while I get that up. All right, I have a budget amendment number 10 here. Motion to amend the 2022 budget, move to increase the general fund by $7,600 to $10,830,095 and improve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase bike, sidewalk, rec, and road fund budget by $250 to $2,744,107 and improve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the fire pension OPEB millage fund by $8,972 to $1,626,488 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the fire special millage capital fund budget by $104,000 to $864,000 and approve the department line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the rec fund budget by $16,000 to $746,641 and approve the line item changes as outlined. Move to increase the 14B District Court Department Fund budget by $4,923 to $1,814,627 and approve the line item changes as outlined, and move to increase the law enforcement fund budget by $500 to $8,566,095 and approve the line item changes outlined. I would so move the budget amendment.
Motion and support to approve the budget amendment. Questions or comment? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under authorization and bid, we have the request to award the low bid and approve the contract with Doan Construction for the Hewitt Road Fire Station construction project in the amount of $202,000, which is budgeted in line item 217-901-976-005.
Move to approve.
Motion Wilson. Support Swanson. Is there discussion on this item? There were 4 bidders, so that was good for this day and age to get that. And it's an improvement to the Hewitt Road, the parking lot station over there, and to the sidewalks. I think sidewalks are part of it. So that will be improved on that. And we're going to come back with a contract for construction services. We did a budget amendment, but that'll come back to the board. We have a motion and support. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a request to award the bid and approve the purchase agreement for 2 Spartan ER Star Series side mount pumpers to CSI Emergency Apparatus in the amount of $1,898,549, which will be budgeted in the 2023 budget. Motion Eldridge, support Swanson. So this is to purchase the replacement of the fire trucks. It's going to take a year for us to get them, but this authorized a purchase, and we will pay for them once we receive the trucks. So hopefully in a year, they'll be here, and it'll be in the 2023 budget. Are there any questions in regards to this? Mr. Winters, you have reviewed the information?
Yes, I reviewed the contract, the warranty information, the specifications. I guess I should not have asked for all that information from Captain Fred Anstead, because he certainly did fill up my notebook here, but it's all in proper form, and as you indicated, there were a few minor changes to the contract, but no money is to be paid until it's actually been built and delivered and accepted by the township.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments on that? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There's no other business. Are there any board member updates? We did that in the work session, but motion to adjourn would be in order then.
So moved.
Support.
Motion Wilson, support Peterson.
No, Stan.
Pardon me?
Stan.
Okay.
Said it first.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.